Hello, everyone. Welcome to Vinyasa Yoga. My name is Michelle Chua. Let's start in a comfortable seat in Sukhasana. And as you're setting yourself up here, if you find that your knees are lifting higher than your hips, you may want to grab a pillow or a folded blanket to sit on towards the front edge of. And in Sukhasana, traditionally, we have the knees about hips width apart. So see if that's available for you to bring the knees in closer together, hips distance apart, so that the ankles are actually wider apart than the knees. The shins are crossing in the middle. And then allow a moment to relax your shoulders. You can bring the thumb and index fingers to touch in either Jnana Mudra with the palms face up on your lap, or Chin Mudra with the palms face down. Just see what works for you right now as you sit tall with shoulders relaxed, perhaps closing your eyes. So in the second limb of yoga, you might remember that there is a practice called santosha. And santosha often translates from Sanskrit as contentment. Here's an excerpt about it from the Yoga Almanac: becoming at ease with what is. To be at peace does not necessitate the absence of chaos, confusion, or stress. It necessitates a sense of calm in the storm. Yoga is not just a respite from the demands of day-to-day life. Practice is a tool to navigate life's challenges from a place of stability, a foundation for living from the heart with ease. Santosha is the niyama that, more than a directive to be happy, teaches the practice of contentment. It asks us to do our best with whatever the task may be, and to be okay with the outcome, even when that result is unintended or unexpected. Practice helps liberate the mind from reactionary thinking. We may desire yoga practice to increase strength and flexibility, or have the expectation of mastering inversions and arm balances. In a social media driven world where contortionism is rewarded with attention, hypermobility is conflated with flexibility, which can lead to injury. This isn't yoga. A yogi acknowledges individual progress, knowing when to slow down and back off, and when it's safe to explore. This is described in a yoga practice as the difference between observable sensation and pain. Through the language of movement, we identify where our boundaries lie by honoring both our abilities and limitations. To practice santosha on the mat is to resist muddying the discipline of practice with the expectation of progress. The idea of being content with our circumstances can feel foreign in a world driven by measurable achievement. But contentment is not complacency. By releasing ourselves from expectations surrounding outcome, we more readily accept where we're at on the journey. So as you sit here in Sukhasana, translated as easy pose, notice where you're at in your physical state. Feel into whatever sensations are here for you. In your breathing, without having to change it, just observing how your body is breathing. And in your mental state, notice how busy or not so busy your mind feels. As you honor your abilities and limitations at this point, let's bring that sense of honoring as we cultivate santosha throughout this asana practice. And then I invite you to make a dedication of the efforts you put into practice today, offering them up for someone that you care about or a group of people that you'd like to dedicate your efforts to. And sending that out, let's create resonance through 3 chants of Om, remembering that there's a beginning, a middle, an end to each Om, and then a slight pause, a stillness after each. So exhale all this breath out. Take a deep inhale to prepare for the first. Beginning to deepen your breath in through the nose and out through the nose, creating a soft whisper at the back of your throat by gently narrowing it in the practice of Ujjayi Pranayama, or victorious breath. See if you can continue this balanced whispering sound in your breath throughout this physical practice. The theme of today's class physically is abducting, or opening the thighs from the midline of the body and externally rotating the thighs. So you might call this hip openers, which will lead us into posture that signifies Santosha towards the very end. So let's come on down to our backs, lying on the floor. Stay aware of your breathing as you transition here. And then have your knees bent. Take a moment to draw them in towards your chest with your hands. And with your inhale, circle your thighs apart. And with your exhale, draw your thighs together. And take that at your pace for several more cycles of breath. So gently warming up at your hip joints. Switching directions. Keeping your shoulders relaxed on the ground. And then stepping your left foot on the earth, turn out your right thigh at the hip. So that's an external rotation and abduction. Flex your right foot as you cross the right ankle over your left thigh, like a figure 4. Begin by placing your right palm on the top inner side of your right thigh to gently splay it open. Breathing here. Feel into what sensations arise, if any. And you could either stay here or thread your right hand between your 2 thighs and with both hands catch hold of either your left thigh or your left shin. Still keeping your shoulders on the ground, you might see if you're able to bring your left thigh closer and closer to your chest. You could also use your right forearm or elbow to softly nudge your inner right thigh open in this supine single pigeon pose, also called thread the needle. Let's finish off 3 more Ujjayi breaths here. So having a steady point to gaze at in each posture will help us to cultivate concentration, or dharana. One last breath. And let's set the 2 feet on the ground, both knees bent. Turning your left thigh open from the hip, externally rotate and abduct away from your midline. Flex your left foot and cross the ankle over your right thigh. Pause here, pressing your left palm into the top inner side of your left thigh, helping to splay it open. So having your left foot flex as we're turning out the left leg helps to keep your knee joint safely stabilized. Now you could choose to stay in this variation of the pose or thread your left hand between your thighs and with two hands catch hold of your right thigh or shin, bringing your right leg closer to your chest as you gently nudge your inner left thigh open with your left arm. Feel that your two shoulders are resting on the ground as we take 3 more breaths here and thread the needle or supine single pigeon. And as you finish this exhale, draw your bent knees into your chest. Rock a little side to side, giving your sacrum a little massage. Then begin to rock forward and back a few times, building momentum so that you can eventually come to stand in a forward fold at the top of your mat with your feet hips width apart, parallel. Bend your knees generously as you tilt your weight towards the front of your heels. Reaching hold of opposite elbows with each hand. Let your head completely fall here. You can shake and nod your head a few times. At the same time, lift your shoulder bones up to free up more space in your neck. A few more breaths. You might even opt to sway your spine side to side as we release tension from it. Maybe switch the cross of your arms. And then release your arms from down through both feet. Bend your knees, engage your abdomen. Imagine the feeling of a flat back with knees bent. And inhale, sweep your arms forward and up to rise to stand. Let your palms meet at the very top in prayer, and then join your hands in prayer at your heart center. Heel toe the inner edges of your feet to touch here in mountain pose, Tadasana, Padasana. So I invite you to take a moment to feel gratitude for your ability to arrive here in your practice today. All that came together for you to stand here right now, connecting to your breath. Maybe gratitude for this community that practices alongside with you today. And then what's one thing you might be choosing to shift in an area of your life? Perhaps using that as your intention for this practice, saying it mentally in the present tense, like I am, so that it's already happening. I am confident. I am calm. Whatever your intention may be, see yourself already experiencing it. And so with gratitude, with intention, let's begin to move the body in sun salutation. Arms by your sides, palms facing forward. Feel the center line of your body tall. On your inhale, sweep your arms forward and up. As your palms meet, look up and coil your chest towards the sun, towards the sky. As you exhale, hinge from your hips. Feel free to bend your knees any amount needed to fold. Plant your hands alongside your feet. Inhale, the left knee steps back. Coil your chest up in a kneeling lunge. Step into plank pose. Then as you exhale, lower your knees, chin, look forward, hug the elbows to your ribs, and slither chest, belly, and legs flat onto the ground. Press your toenails into the earth. Inhale, cobra. Broaden your chest off the floor. Tuck your toes. Exhale, downward facing dog, lifting your hips high and back. Step your left foot between your hands beside the left thumb. Lower the back knee and inhale, coil your chest up in a kneeling lunge. Exhale, step the right foot to touch the left, forward fold. Press to your feet. Inhale, sweep your arms forward and up. As you watch the palms meet, coil your chest towards the sky. Exhale, bring your hands in prayer down your center line, mountain pose. Side 2, inhale, sweep your arms forward and up, heart towards the sky. Exhale, bow, Uttanasana. Plant your hands outside the feet, right knee steps back. Inhale, coil your chest up in a kneeling lunge. Stepping through plank pose. Exhale, lower knees, chin, slither to the ground. Inhale, either cobra or upward facing dog, firming down through the tops of your feet. Draw your belly in to lift your hips back. Exhale to Adho Mukha Svanasana. Step the right foot beside the right thumb, lower the back knee. Inhale, coil your chest up in a kneeling lunge. Exhale, the left foot touches the right foot, top of your mat fold. Inhale, sweep your arms forward and up, coil your chest towards the sky. Exhale, tracing your midline, mountain pose. Let's take 2 more rounds. Listen to your breath. Inhale, sweep your arms forward and up, coil the chest up. Exhale, bow forward. Plant your hands, left knee steps back. Inhale, coil your chest up. Step into plank pose. Exhale, lower knees, chest and chin, slither. Cobra or upward facing dog, inhale. Exhale, draw your navel into downward facing. Left foot steps beside left thumb, right knee down. Inhale, coil your chest up. Exhale, right foot touches the left, top of the mat fold. Inhale, arms reach forward and up, palms touch, heart lifts. Exhale to your midline, Tadasana. Last one, inhale, sweep your arms up, coil the chest. Exhale, bow forward. Place your hands, step the right knee back. Inhale, coil your chest up. Step into plank and exhale, lower knees, chest, chin, slither. Inhale, cobra or upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Right foot steps beside right thumb, back knee to the ground. Inhale, coil your chest up. Exhale, step the left foot to touch the right, forward fold. Inhale, sweep the arms forward, standing back bend. Exhale, bring your hands together at your hearts. Take a giant step to the rear of your mat with your left foot. Spin the heel down. For Warrior 2, align the front heel to the arch of your back foot and open your arms as your chest completely faces your left wall and you're gazing past your right fingertips. Let's take about 7 breaths here. So feel your right outer hip roll slightly underneath your body in that external rotation of your right thigh at the hip. Bending the front knee just over the heel. As you straighten your back leg, firming the outside edge of the foot into the ground. That's 3 breaths. Virabhadrasana 2. Pressing both feet down, straighten your right leg for Trikonasana, triangle. You may opt for a slightly shorter stance. Glide your hips sideways towards the back of your mat, reaching your right hand forward and onto your right leg, or just to the right of it, maybe using a block. As the left arm extends towards the sky, let your shoulders and wrists stack in one line. Keep wrapping your right outer hip under. Draw your tailbone towards your left outer heel and spiral your chest slightly to face the sky as the shoulders relax down your back. Find a gazing point just past your left thumb if it feels okay on your neck. About 4 more breaths. And take a look at the ground just in front of your right foot to prepare for Ardha Chandrasana, half moon pose. Bending your right knee, crawl your right hand about 6 inches forward of your right pinky toe to the right outer corner. Feel free to bring your block if you're using it in triangle. Drag your left foot forward, flex your left foot to raise the leg about parallel to the floor, turning your chest completely to face your left wall. Keep wrapping the right outer hip under your body so your tailbone is directing towards your left outer heel, just like in triangle. Check in with your breathing. You might be gazing up past your left thumb if the left arm is straight up, or you might be gazing down, which can help if you're feeling a little off balance. About 5 more breaths here in half moon pose. Sweep your left arm overhead to land your left hand, shoulders distance from the right hand. Spin your left outer hip to face the ground, coming into standing split. Square your hips to face the ground. Inhale, lift your chest, look forward, and keep lifting your inner left thigh towards the sky as you exhale to bow towards your right shin. A few breaths. You might walk both hands closer to your right foot. Maybe wrap one arm around your right calf, maybe both. Steadying your eyes, let's take one more breath here. And with your hands on the ground or on blocks, step your left foot to touch the right, Uttanasana, top of your mat. Inhale, sweep your arms, rising all the way up, standing back bend. And exhale, Tadasana, mountain pose. Let's take it to side 2. Inhale, sweep your arms forward and up, coil the chest up. Exhale, bow forward. Place your hands alongside your feet, step your right foot a giant step back, spin the heel down, align left heel to arch of right foot, then cartwheel your arms into warrior 2. So wrapping left outer hip under, then the front knee just over the heel. Gazing past your left fingertips. Feel the outside edge of your right foot firming into the floor as you straighten your back leg. All the fingers together of each hand. About 5 more breaths. Virabhadrasana 2. So what does Santosha, the practice of it, mean in this posture for you right now? Contentment. We might notice sometimes that we cling to things that might be familiar. For example, music playing in the background when we're practicing yoga. These places that might feel uncomfortable can be among our greatest teachers of contentment. And then straightening your left leg, you may choose to slightly shorten your stance for triangle. Slide your hips sideways towards the back of your mat, reaching the left arm forward to land your hand on your left leg or just to the left of it, raising your right arm straight up, perhaps looking past it on one spot. Note the quality that you can hear in your breath. Left outer hip continues to wrap under. Shoulders and wrists stack in one line. Chest spirals open slightly towards the sky. Then gaze at the ground just ahead of your left foot. Bend your left knee. Crawl your left fingertips about 6 inches forward of your left pinky toe out to the left. Bring a block if you're using one. Drag your right foot forward and flex the foot as you raise the leg about parallel to the floor. And then again, turn your chest completely to face your right wall as you stack your shoulders and wrists. You might be gazing at the ground. You might be gazing up past your right thumb. Find a steady gaze, steady drishti. Sweep your right arm overhead to land your right hand about shoulders distance apart from your left hand. Spiral your right outer hip to face the ground so that you're squaring your hips. Keep flexing your right foot. Inhale, lift your chest, look forward. And lifting from the inseam of your right leg, fold towards your left. Standing split. Inhale, look forward, lengthen your spine. And exhale, fold. Bring your inner edges of your feet to touch. Bend your knees together to touch. We're going to flow through one round of sun salutation V. One breath, one movement. Inhale, chair, Utkatasana. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, rise halfway, Ardha Uttanasana. Step to plank or float into Chaturanga Dandasana. Into Cobra or upward facing dog. Inhale. Exhale, downward facing dog. Keep your hips leveled. Inhale, raise your right leg back. Round through plank and step right foot beside right thumb. Spin the back heel down. With hips facing forward, inhale, rise up to warrior one. Virabhadrasana one. Then exhale, lower from plank into your vinyasa. Keep going. Now you could opt for cat-cow instead of a plank and cobra. And when you get back to downward facing dog at your pace, inhale, raise the left leg, keeping your hips level. Exhale, round through plank, step the foot beside left thumb, spin the back heel down. Facing forward, inhale, rise to warrior one. Then exhale, lower into your vinyasa. Keep going, we'll meet in downward facing dog. Stilling the body, steadying your gaze, and rebalancing your breath for 3 to 5 cycles. Bend your knees, look past your fingertips. On empty breath, lift your pelvic floor as you walk or lightly jump your feet together at the top. Then inhale, rise halfway up, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, fold in. With knees touching, inhale, chair pose. But this time, let's bring the hands together at the heart as we play with another hip opening posture. Preparation for or following through with flying single pigeon. So turn out your right thigh at the hip, like we did lying down at the start. Flex your right foot and cross the ankle over your left thigh like a figure 4. Draw your sitting bones back and down, stacking your left knee over the heel. Now you could stay here, you could extend the arms up, you could place your fingertips on blocks or on the floor. Perhaps you move into the arm balance of flying single pigeon. If you're taking the latter, plant your hands flat on the floor. Think of creating Chaturanga Dandasana with your elbows bending back, arms parallel, as you look at the ground about 3 feet ahead of your fingertips. Wrap the top of your right foot flexed around your left outer upper arm and use your right shin across your 2 upper arms to push off of as you lift your hips, extending your left leg back. So whatever variation of the pose you're in, take maybe about 4 more breaths. Then moving through the figure 4 chair pose. Use an exhale to rise all the way up to stand. Pausing for a few breaths in mountain pose. Arms by your sides, maybe closing your eyes, and just feeling into what is here now in your mental, physical state. Feel your feet touching to start. Bend your knees together to start, and inhale, sit back towards your heels in Utkatasana, chair pose. Join your hands at your heart, steady your eyes, steady your breath, and turn out your left thigh at the hip. Abduction, moving away from the midline, and external rotation. Flex your left foot and cross the ankle over your right thigh like a figure 4. Draw your sitting bones back and down, front knees right over the heel. You might extend the arms up. You might plant your hands on blocks or the ground. If you're moving into the arm balance, wrap the top of your left foot around the outside of your right upper arm. Use your left shin to cross and push off of your 2 upper arms. As you lean forward, extending your right leg back. About 5 more breaths. Taking your time from that figure 4 version of chair pose. With an exhale, rise all the way up into mountain pose. Feet touching, arms down by your sides. A few breaths to check in. And still with your feet together, your knees together, let's sit through chair pose and softly land your pelvis onto the ground for Navasana, 1 round of boat pose. Either catching hold of the backs of your thighs or keeping your arms extended forward, maybe straightening the legs. 5 more breaths. Inhale and exhale. Keep breathing on your own. Focus on the quality of your breath that matches the intention that you set for this practice. One more deep breath. And then exhale, set your feet on the ground. Let's grab a block. Using the skinniest width, hug it right up between your thighs so your feet are separated just as wide apart as your knees. And then slowly, as you extend the arms forward, palms up, slowly lower onto your back. When your head meets the ground, let's prepare for 1 round of Setu Bandha Sarvangasana, bridge pose. So with your arms really close to your side ribs, down by your side, slide your feet back just enough where you could almost touch your heels with your fingertips, but not quite, just almost. And then pressing down through the 4 corners of each foot, through the backs of your shoulders, tilt your chin slightly back away from your chest. And on your next inhale, tilt your tailbone up, lifting your pelvis, mid-back, chest. Walk your upper arms closer together under your back ribs, keeping your arms straight. If your hands touch, you might interlace your fingers. Give yourself another 5 to 7 breaths in this posture before you exhale and slowly lower your spine to the ground. So as you're hugging the block, keep your thighs parallel, your feet parallel. Lengthen the fronts of your thighs forward. Think of releasing the flesh of your glutes towards the backs of your knees. And then as you're ready, slowly lower. Put the block aside. And let's flip over onto our bellies for the next back bend. Urasana, bow pose. So as you lie on your belly, forehead to the ground, slide your knees as close together as possible. Then bending both knees, reach back with your hands and catch hold of your outer feet. Press your pubic bone into the ground. Keep your knees no wider apart than hips distance. Kick your legs back towards straight as you pull your feet towards your glutes, coiling your chest off the floor. And then again, count 5 to 8 breaths before you release and rest on the floor. Urasana. You might make a pillow out of your forearms to rest your forehead on. You might windshield wiper your shins left and right for a few breaths as you're resting. Okay, our last back bend. Take your choice of either Urasana again or turn onto your back for one more bridge pose. Otherwise, the third option is to follow me into Urdhva Dhanurasana, upward facing bow. If you have no injuries in your shoulders, you might try to take this one if you're feeling pretty open in your chest. So we're upward facing bow. Please place the block again between your thighs. Similar setup as bridge. Feet where you could almost touch them with your fingertips. Parallel feet, ground the backs of the shoulders. And then this time, extend your arms up, palms face each other, and wrap your triceps towards the front of your mat. Bend your elbows towards the sky. Plant your palms face down alongside your ears, index fingers out. And then keep your elbows no wider than your shoulders distance apart. Really important. Imagine you're squeezing another block between your elbows, just like the block between your thighs. Then begin to lift your pelvis like bridge. Release the flesh of your glutes towards the backs of your knees. Stabilize through the feet. You can pause here and see if this is plenty. Noticing your abilities and limitations, right? Finding Santosha where you are. Or you might bring the crown of your head to the floor and pause here. Maybe walk the hands apart a little bit. Keep the elbows hugging in. Or push off your hands and feet and lift your head, where you're lengthening your tailbone towards the block and your sternum towards the back wall. So whatever variation, 5 to 7 breaths. And when you're ready to come down, use an exhale to carefully lower in reverse through those stages. Upward facing bow. So if you're coming down from upward bow, top of the head to the floor first, then gently chin towards the chest to lower the shoulders, then slowly one vertebra at a time. If you were an upward bow, you might give your inner wrist a stretch or your outer wrist a stretch by making chicken wings out of your arms, or you press the backs of your hands into your armpits and you close the elbows towards your side ribs. So whatever resting variation you're in, let's take about 3 deep belly breaths. Inhale into your stomach and exhale to your mouth. And then please turn over to one side. Let's slowly press up to sit, extending your legs in front of you. So what's neutralizing for the spine after those deep back bends is a spinal twist. So stepping your right foot either in front of your right hip as I'm mirroring you, or crossing that foot outside your left knee, or also bending your left knee. Plant your right hand behind your pelvis on the floor and raise your left arm. Press into the surface below as you inhale to sit tall, lifting to your crown. Then exhale, twist to your right side and lower your left arm onto your front shin or hook the elbow outside of your thigh. So notice the practice of Santosha in this posture, Marishasana, sage pose. In order for a twist to be effective without causing injury, there must be a balance of exerting effort in the twist while also letting go, while also letting it be what it is. So can you find that alignment of your spine, the relaxation of your shoulders, and the breath easing you through your range? Let's take one more breath here. And then as you exhale, unwind your spine. Let's take the right shin and cross it either in front of or on top of the left shin. If on top of, see if you might be able to stack your knees and ankles with each other while flexing your feet towards your side walls. And that is double pigeon pose. So here's another external rotation of the thigh bones at the hip. It may be helpful to elevate your pelvis on a blanket and then ground your two sitting bones, lift your spine. And for about 5 breaths, you might see how far you can fold forward without losing that length in your spine. So the shoulders remain relaxed, the neck stays spacious. Firm in your belly slightly and lead with your chest. Inhale to slowly rise. Set it for side 2 in the twist. So with the right leg extended forward, see if you can do the same variation as the first setup. Either left foot is in front of the hip or outside of the right knee, maybe also bending your right knee. Place your left hand on the floor behind your pelvis, right arm up, press into the ground. Inhale, lift through the center of your spine, keep the shoulders relaxed. Exhale, twist to your left and lower your right arm, maybe hooking the elbow. And then taking this breath by breath to find that balance of effort and ease as you explore your range of motion. One more breath here. And then as you unwind, please take your left shin and cross it either forward or on top of your right shin. And if on top, see if you might be able to stack knees and ankles while flexing both feet for double pigeon pose. Grounding your sitting bones, sit up tall, shoulders relaxed, about 5 breaths to hinge forward from your hips. Leading from your chest, inhale to slowly rise up. So take a moment to extend your legs forward, point out your toes if you've been flexing your feet especially. Sit up tall in Dandasana. So the external rotating posture of the hips, or the thighs at the hips, the abduction of the thighs at the hips, the posture that I was preparing us for is Padmasana, which is lotus pose, the flower. And it's one of the main postures traditionally used to sit in for seated meditation. So that symbol of contentment and presence. So let's give it a try. You'll have different variations. First step, take your left thigh and turn it out from the hip. So making sure that you're not rotating the knee sideways, but you're rotating the thigh externally. So it can help to flex your, let's do the right leg first, since we've been starting with the right. So the right leg turning out can help to flex your right foot like we've been doing in those hip openers already. And then just finding what the comfort of your knee is. It's very important to make sure that your knee is not feeling ladder, like twisting side to side. It does have like a 15-degree range of twisting, but really be mindful of sensations in your knee. See if you might be able to place your right ankle towards the top of your left thigh. If not, maybe you have a figure 4 shape like we did earlier. If not, maybe you have the foot inside of the inner thigh like Janu Sukhasana prep. If you do have it at the top of your left thigh, there's that really turned out version of the thigh here. You bring the knee in line with your hip. So here's half lotus pose. Sit up tall, maybe you stay here. Otherwise, you might begin to turn out your left thigh underneath. Be very mindful of the knee as well. Taking the ankle without torquing it, just breathing through what's available here and bringing that ankle towards the top of your right thigh. So the knees again are about hips width apart. Just see what's available. Breathe into where you are in your journey of this pose. About 3 more breaths. Maybe taking chin mudra or dhyana mudra, thumb and index fingers touch on your lap. And then slowly make your way out of it, uncrossing the first leg on top, uncrossing the second leg, and then extending the legs in Dandasana again. Side 2. So now turning out your left thigh from the hip and abducting it, moving it away from the midline. Be mindful of your knee. See wherever it's possible to place your left ankle towards the top of your right thigh. Bringing the left knee in line with the left hip forward. And then you might take the right leg. Be mindful of the knee. Make sure you're turning out from the hip socket, crossing the right ankle towards the top of the left thigh, grounding through your sitting bones so you're sitting tall, and perhaps taking chin mudra, thumb and index fingers to touch, palms face down, or Dhyana mudra, same shape of the hands, palms face up. 5 breaths in Padmasana, lotus pose. And then take your time transitioning out, gently unfolding one leg and then the other as we prepare for a seated forward fold, Paschimottanasana. You might grab a strap here if you want to place it around the balls of your feet with enough slack so that you can keep the shoulders relaxed away from your neck. If you're not using a strap, place your hands alongside your hips. To separate your feet hips width, flex your feet, sit tall for a few breaths. Keep this open chest, open throat, and as you're ready, use the exhales to hinge little by little from your hips. Feel a slight lift in your chest even as you're bowing forward. You might catch hold of the backs of your legs if you're not holding a strap. You might clasp your big toes. 5 breaths here. Paschimottanasana. And with your next inhale, leading with your chest, slightly firm your belly. Inhale to rise up. So let's get set up for Shavasana. If you have any kind of tension in your lower back, you might find it helpful to place your blocks one under each back of the knee. Splay your feet apart, wider than hips width, and shake out your legs inward and outward and just let them flop. You come to lie on your back. Turn your palms to face up in a gesture of openness and receptivity. Slide your shoulder blades down your back. Find that neutral curve in your neck. Take a slow inhale as if you could breathe into your whole body from soles to crown. Hold your breath in at the top. Then very slowly ease the breath out to your mouth. Then completely let go of controlling your breath. Let your body sink into the ground, eyes closed, body still, full presence. Shavasana. We do not strive for contentment, but create space for it to enter. Contentment is not complacency, but finding strength in simplicity and power in the peaceful. By softening, accepting, and releasing what is not, we establish inner peace and find ease with what is, the Yoga Amana. Let's begin to deepen the breath gently, perhaps keeping your eyes closed, tuning in. And then begin with small movements like rubbing your thumbs across your fingertips, wiggling your toes. Graduate into stretching your arms and legs. Eventually turning over to your right side to pause there for a moment. Observing any shifts you might feel you've created through your practice here. And as you feel ready, press into the ground. Let's find a comfortable seat in the posture we began in, Sukhasana. You might elevate your pelvis on a prop. See if you can bring your knees, hips width apart in front of you as you cross the shins, ankles playing wider than hips width apart. And then perhaps taking the thumb and index fingers to touch, whether palms face down, chin mudra, or palms face up, Dhyana mudra. You might close your eyes here as we sit, observing your physical body. Your breath just as it is. And your mental state. Noticing any difference from when you first started checking in at the beginning of this practice. And for the next 5 minutes, sitting in meditation, allow this time to experience yourself in stillness. invite you to come back to the dedication that you made at the start of this practice, as well as the intention that you set, saying it mentally to yourself a few more times, replanting the seed. And visualizing your having experienced it come to be. And as you bring your palms to meet at your heart center, lifting your heart, bowing in, finding gratitude in your commitment to your deeper self. Gratitude to your teachers and their teachers. Gratitude for this community that supports you through their practice. Let's close like we started with 3 chants of Om. Exhale this breath. Deeply inhale. The light in me bows to the light in you. Namaste.